So, do we have questions from the floor? So, I can. Yes. Don Christie, and it's coming.
Thank you. So, it's pretty better work. You mentioned right at the start of the talk that you contributed to OpenStack advanced reservations capability. With that, does that apply to GPUs?
Yes, absolutely. It primarily applies to GPUs, right? I mean, if we didn't have that features, we have two features. One is advanced reservation, and the other is bounded leases, right? If we didn't have bounded leases, meaning you can't take out the resource for more than a certain amount of time, for the bare metal partition, that's 7 days, right? If we didn't have the bounded reservations, nobody would ever release a GPU. If we didn't have the advanced reservation, nobody would ever be able to get one.
Right. So, on behalf of cloud service companies that base their services on hyperscale OpenStack technology, I thank you.
So, the disclosure, he is one of them. Next question. I have one in the meantime. Is there someone there? No. How do you choose the technologies or tools that you put together? Because, I mean, it's ensemble pretty heterogeneous. And you mentioned at some stage it was tested with Hadoop, which is not necessarily state of the art these days for some people.
Well, the Hadoop that you saw on one slide was used as a benchmark by the user in one of the experiments. And sort of general question of how do we choose technologies? Sort of two questions, right? How do we choose hardware technologies? Dan over there chooses them, or in collaboration with our users who typically have a long wish list, and it's a question more of what to prioritize. In terms of software, so that's more my domain, right? And how do we use that? Well, it's an evaluation process, but the evaluation takes into account not just performance, but also sustainability, adaptability, right? So is it open source, and is it written in such a way that we can go in there with our special sauce, right? So there are no tools that meet all of the requirements that we have. It never happened to me, at least. You know, I think if it does, that's not infrastructure research anymore, right? So we're trying to cover as much of the area of what we need with existing technologies, and then there's a question: is there somebody or organization or community behind this tool that we can work with to contribute to, like we contributed to OpenStack, for example?
And how is the benchmarking going? I know that there is a talk about benchmarking one of these days, probably tomorrow or the day after. So do you create your own standards to say it in a mundane way, or you follow something in particular?
About benchmarking? So for benchmarking, again, a lot of benchmarking gets done by users, and in as far as that goes, we serve them. And we make sure that they can do whatever they need to do in order to benchmark. For benchmarking our own stuff, this is a hard answer because, like with the software, we choose components, but the components are very use case specific. So generally speaking, we have to think up of a new benchmark, to figure out whether it meets our needs. It's usually a creative process.
Thank you very much. Please join us. Oh, there is another question. Of course there is. Yeah, behind you. Kevin.
Thank you. So I saw that Chameleon to the Edge is looking at the continuum going outside the data center. And we've heard many different organizations like Meta building out multiple data centers that would potentially be interconnected, and the DOE with their integrated research infrastructure. Is there any thought, and maybe, sorry if I missed it, is there any thought on Chameleon connecting to existing like HPC facilities to evaluate that HPC cloud continuum as a testbed?
Yeah, well, it's a great question, actually. And the answer is yes and no. So in a sense, with Chameleon, what we're trying to do is, not only use commodity technologies, but also commoditize the test bed. So we have infrastructure, and this was not in the talk. We've got something called Box. Chi is Chameleon infrastructure. Box is a packaging of both Chameleon infrastructure and its operations model. Makes it easy to deploy and operate. And this is why various sites decided to operate it, right? So they decided to create Box site and operate them. And then we support the users who run on those sites. So we provide also, the federated login. We provide images that can be run on those sites. So we do a lot of the operational infrastructure. It's very similar to NSF has this access organization that works with HPC centers. So in a sense, this now mirrors this organization, right? So somebody could fund a separate Chameleon site, and it would mirror on the computer science research space the organization of access. What I think would be much more interesting if there could be some more direct dialogue between those organizations. Because right now we've got computer scientists in one box and domain scientists in the other box, but the rates at which science evolves today are such that it's very hard to wait for the whole evolution cycle for innovation to be integrated in what you're doing, right? It would be much easier if there could be a direct dialogue between computer science research and application science needs on this instrument development. And so, a dialogue, a closer collaboration in that space would make things easier. It goes by the name of translational computer science these days. We'll see if we can make it happen.